guys, it's Di, and this is a requested video that has been one of the most highly requested questions ever since I first posted my Tiffany Silver Jewelry collection a number of months ago, and then also since I just posted the Tiffany gift giving guide for the $150 to $350 range that I spoke mostly about silver jewelry in that guide. People have been asking this question a lot as well. So I wanted to go ahead and show you guys how I prefer to clean my Tiffany silver jewelry. A lot of people have questions about how to clean the jewelry, what's the best way to clean it, and also what's the way that I clean my things personally. So my personal preference is for Tiffany jewelry to only use the Tiffany brand cleaners on the items, and that's a personal preference that I have. There are a number of other just regular jewelry cleaners out there that's made specifically for silver jewelry, but my personal preference is to use the Tiffany brand cleaner. You can also take your items into the store, but I believe they've started charging for that. I believe that the fee is about $25 per piece. So if you're in there and they're not willing to waive that fee for you, obviously it could get fairly expensive if you're wanting to clean a number of items. So these items in this bag are a great way to economically clean your jewelry, and also if you live a distance from a store and can't take your items in to be cleaned. So the first thing that I have is the Tiffany Spray Silver Polish, and this is really great for deep cleaning. It easily gets down into the creases and crevices on jewelry, and it also cleans them very effectively and very quickly. I didn't have any jewelry that was super tarnished because I just try to keep it up a little bit, and some of my more tarnished pieces had been in for service recently at Tiffany, so they got cleaned by themselves. But I did have a piece of silverware that was fairly far gone, really tarnished, and I used this on there to show you guys how it made such a huge difference. You can really, make a huge difference with these, no matter if the piece has a lot of tarnish on it, or maybe it's just starting to look a little bit cloudy, not be as kind of crisp and clear. It makes a huge difference, and you should notice it quite immediately. The spray silver polish is $20, and it comes in a pretty big bottle. You can see that it's a pretty good ample size, and this should last you for a pretty decent amount of time, especially if you're just occasionally cleaning your jewelry. So I think that this is a great option, and even the associates at the store recommended you can just use kind of rags or soft cloths that you have around your house, like an old t-shirt, that sort of thing, to use along in conjunction with this. So you don't really have to go out and buy anything else additionally special. The next thing that I have that I really like using, and I especially like using this for my silverware more so than my jewelry, but they also make a smaller version of this that's great for just tiny pieces of jewelry or to take with you on the go. Say you're traveling and you just want to have something to spruce up your jewelry while you're gone. These are the silver polishing cloths, and this is the larger size. This is $10. They also make a smaller cloth that's $5, which is great for traveling. And this actually has a treatment on it that cleans and also puts an anti-tarnishing agent on the piece of jewelry. And it says on the back that you can use it as an ordinary cloth on lightly tarnished gold, silver, and silver plate to obtain a brilliant polish with long-lasting protection against tarnish. So it does say that you can use it on gold. I just generally prefer to only use these things on silver. I use a different sort of jewelry cleaner for my other metals, but it does say on the back that this is for gold. Now I do know this spray, you only want to use this on silver jewelry. You don't want it to touch any other metals, and in fact when I'm cleaning my items, I'm actually going to take my wedding band and wedding ring off because they are platinum and I don't want this cleaner to get on those metals. I've heard that it does not react. It could not react very well. So the spray silver polish is formulated for cleaning silver jewelry and should not be used on precious or semi-precious stones or costume jewelry. So it doesn't say anything about other metals, but just I've always had associates specifically mention that it should only be used on silver items, so I've always taken that to heart. So this is great for more like a grab and go type of quick polishing up sort of thing, and this is great for deep cleaning or items that are very tarnished or maybe fairly far gone. And also this is the large one, so this is really great for silverware or large platters or that sort of thing where you really kind of want to be working with something, but the smaller one is really a great size for travel. So I will show you a few items that I have already used this polish on to show you what a huge difference it can make. And I also have a few pieces of my daily jewelry. You can see it's not very tarnished, but I'll just spray it on there and let you guys see what a difference it makes. I did have two butter knives that were in my regular silverware drawer that were really super tarnished. So I'm using those as an example to show you exactly how great this stuff is and what a huge difference it can make. So my regular silverware, that's silver, you know, is in a felt lined drawer, and it's fairly good about not tarnishing. But I have just some kind of like daily use items that don't really treat that great. I'll just be 1000% honest, in my silverware drawer, that they are silver and they're not in a lined compartment or anything, and they have tarnished quite badly. And I've also put them in the dishwasher, which I know you're not supposed to do. I don't do this with my good set of silverware, but these daily use items, I just grab them out and they kind of go in with everything else. So you will see how tarnished they've gotten from being just grouped in with the rest of the silverware that way. And so you'll see what a great job that this item does. So these are my items that I have laid out to use the Tiffany Spray Silver Polish, and this is just a really easy pump spray that you put onto these. You can see right up here in the corner I have these two butter knives, which were the daily use items that I talked about that were just tossed in my silver drawer. And over time you can see how tarnished and just kind of horrible looking this one ended up being. There was even really super dark spots like on the edges. So I sprayed the top one with the silver cleaner, and this is what it looks like now. So these both look the same when it started out, and you can see what a great job that did. So I will go ahead and try to do this one as well so you can see the before and after of that one. And then this one wasn't really that bad off, but I did go ahead and spray this one, and now it basically looks like new. So that was another one that really made a substantial difference. So I'm going to spray the cleaner on these to show you the technique that I use, and it's really easy and straightforward. I just have an old shirt laying here that I wasn't going to use anymore, so I'm going to clean everything on this, and then I'm just going to toss the shirt afterwards. And I've also cut a piece of the shirt off to use as kind of like a rubbing cloth, and I also like to have some tissue set over to the side for extra kind of cleaning up messes and that sort of thing. I'm just going to spray down the jewelry and let it sit on there. And this is really great about getting into the crevices, and you can actually just do the whole piece at one time if you want. So I'm just going to spray both sides. And this cleaner does have a bit of a smell to it. It seems like it almost smells a little bit worse the more tarnish you have on the item. So just so you're aware, it does have a bit of a smell. I would just let it sit on there for a few minutes, and then I'm going to take the items and I'm going to run a little bit of water over mine, which is not suggested in the directions, but I have talked to associates and it's fine to do that. And I just feel like it helps get the cleaner off a little bit so that way it's not sitting on my skin. And then I am going to wipe it off. So I'm just taking this and I'm taking it down the side of the jewelry and I'm rubbing it down, and you can see even though they didn't look that tarnished, it is taking a bit of tarnish off. So I'm going to use both hands here and run it down the jewelry so that way I can clean both sides. And this one is already looking quite shiny and is already looking like new. I'm going to set the camera down here so you can see. I'm just going to take the cloth around either side and I'm just going to rub a little bit here. And then I'm going to take it and I'm just going to run down the piece of jewelry. And I want to make sure that I get that really, really well. And now this is a personal step. I'm actually going to rinse the jewelry off once and then do another rundown with the cloth, just because I want to make sure that I get that tarnish off and the cleaner off as much as possible. And you can see on my cloth that I have quite a bit of tarnish that's come off, even though that this was an item that really wasn't looking that tarnished. So this silver spray makes a huge, huge difference. So to rinse this, all I'm going to do is just run the water over, and then I'm just going to pat it dry with my cloth, and then it should be ready to go. I'm going to do the same thing here with my bead bracelet that already has the cleaner on it, and this one I just feel like the underside is very, very delicate, so I'm not going to pull on this one. So you may change your technique just depending on what the piece of jewelry is that you're cleaning. And then I also want to make sure that I get the jewelry from the underside as well. So this one is already looking really, really great and shiny. Now the tricky thing with the bead bracelet is getting the cleaner from the under bracelet that's underneath. If you own one of these, you'll understand that there's like a link bracelet underneath. So I really want to make sure that I don't leave any cleaner in there. So this will be one that I'm going to run the water over just to kind of give it an extra rinse and make sure that all of that gets out of those links, because I really don't want any cleaner left on there that's sitting on my skin. I've never had any problems with this cleaner, but I'm just very cautious because I don't want anything to sit on my skin that doesn't have to. And now the smell is not that bad for these two items. And this looks honestly like, it honestly looks brand new. It's so shiny. I'll show you in the regular lighting in my room too, like how shiny it is. It basically made it look like new. So if you have pieces that are not that far gone, it's gonna make a huge, huge difference. It's basically gonna make your items look like new. And then I'm gonna do the same with this one, just give it a little bit of a rinse, and I will pat this one dry. I just really want to make sure all of that cleaner is out from between the links because I don't want it to sit again on the bracelet or on my skin. The next thing I have here is a ring. And I'm going to go ahead and just spray it on and let that sit on there as well. This was another thing that really wasn't that tarnished. And I'm going to go ahead and, for rings, I just run the cloth basically around the edges and then scoot the ring around. This is another thing that's sitting, you know, pretty close directly on my skin, so I'm gonna run water over this one as well. You can see this is my daily ring, and it was not really looking that bad just to look at it, and that's how much tarnish it took off of it. The last piece of jewelry I have up to clean is this Return to Tiffany bracelet that I also wear every day, and I'm just gonna give it a generous little spray here. And then kind of do the other side. And again, I'm gonna rinse this and then rub it with my cloth and it will be ready to go. Elapsed time that I'm doing this in is literally what you're seeing. I'm probably not gonna cut that much time out, but for each piece, it's typically taking me between 2 to 4 minutes. So I'm not letting this sit any additional time other than what you hear me talking right here. This is the butter knife that has had the silver cleaner on it. So you can see that there's quite a bit of tarnish on this. It's got some very, very dark areas. I'm gonna do one side at a time here. I'm gonna spray very, very liberally. And like I was saying earlier, the more tarnish it is, it seems like the smell is a lot worse. So the smell is very, very bad right now. It's much more noticeable with these butter knives than it is with the other pieces of silver. So I'm going to go ahead and rub this off now, and I will show you what it looks like. And voila, that is my cleaned knife. And you can see that they now have handles that look pretty much the same. And just to give you an idea, this is the area where I rubbed the handle to take the tarnish off. So that is what it looks like when it comes off. Those look, you know, pretty decent considering their age. All right, and these are my finished pieces, and they pretty much look like new right now. And probably a more professional jewelry person, obviously you take it into Tiffany, they can make it look like brand new even after it has been worn. But these are pretty good considering the amount of time it takes, and I probably spent less than 15 minutes for this whole process. And now these rags, I do personally not keep them. I just use a new rag every time. I know some people may have kind of an issue with that, but just for me personally, I don't want this cleaner going into the washer where my kids' clothes are going. So it's up to personal preference, but like I said, you can just use an old t-shirt, that's what I've used here, that you were maybe planning on tossing anyways, so that way it can have a purpose before you toss it. So these are my cleaned items. And here it is after it's been cleaned. It looks basically shiny and new. This is my bead bracelet after being cleaned. It just looks very uniform and shiny again. My Return to Tiffany heart tag bracelet, it did make a huge difference on. The tag looks a lot shinier and crisper, and overall it just looks very, very fresh and like new. This is my Loving Heart swirl ring, and although I didn't see a lot of tarnish on it when I was wearing it daily, it did have quite a bit of tarnish on it that came off on the cloth, and it also looks very shiny, and I would say it was probably a little bit shinier when it was new. The people in the store could probably do a little bit better job than I could just because it has so many crevices, but it does look really good after cleaning it. And this is my little notes pendant. I also cleaned this as well, and it just made it look a little bit brighter, and it's shiny and basically looks like how it looked whenever it was new. That is my opinion on cleaning Tiffany silver jewelry. It's really quite easy and very straightforward. And if you're putting in a Tiffany order sometime soon, I would recommend grabbing one of these just to kind of have around your house so you can spruce up your jewelry whenever you want. And I know a couple people had specifically asked and said that they had pieces that were really, really far gone, very, very tarnished, didn't know if they were going to be able to bring them back to life. And I would highly recommend getting this spray silver polish and really trying it. It makes a huge difference, and the amount of tarnish that it brings off is really quite amazing. So I think you should give this a try, and you probably, in more instances than not, will probably be able to make your piece of jewelry look almost like new. So hopefully this has been helpful. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.